And we're back, dear viewers, with a very special interview because we have the honor to have here with us not only the winner of the recent game, Vincent Kammer, Liem, but also the reigning champion of not only the last year but 2 years, Liem, the leading grandmaster from Vietnam. Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know, maybe before we very quickly go through your game, a couple of impressions. What makes Biel such a special place?
So I really like the environment here. It's a big chess festival with lots of people, and we got to play lots of different time controls and also the 960. So I really like the challenge that you really have to be the best, and you have to adjust to different type of time controls, and you have to do well in all of these. So this is my third year here already, and I hope that luck will again be with me.
All right, yeah, we'll indeed see. Were you satisfied how you started with the first two tournaments, just 960 or Rapid, or you felt that you could have done better?
Yeah, the 960 went okay. I got tied for third place, but finished fourth on tiebreak. And then the Rapid, except the first game with Vincent, I shouldn't have lost that game, but I blundered in time pressure. The rest was okay. I got back to 50%, so it was a solid tournament.
All right. Okay, so did you had any expectations from this round? Like you just went out to see what happens, or you were like pretty happy to draw if there was such an opportunity?
Yeah, with black, I was mostly wanting to be solid, and I know that it would be a very tough game. Vincent always trying to push with white, and he's an excellent player. So I think you can see from the game that it was a very fighting game, and we were both wanting to play out the position. And at some point, I think he had an advantage. So let's go ahead and see the games.
All right, let's go through. I will go through slowly, and maybe you can stop me at some moment when you feel you have to something add, like some of the critical moments. Like what? Something about the opening choice.
The opening was okay. I play this from time to time, not very often, but I think he was not surprised because he played it pretty quickly. Yeah, everything is normal, I think. Yeah, h3, knight e4, this is the main idea for black. You get knight to f6 and bishop e6. And yeah, here I took some time because I had to decide how to put my pieces. Like white potentially had some ideas like queen c2, f3, after knight e5.
After knight e5.
Yes, so I wasn't sure how to, where to put my pieces. So okay, I castle rook e8. Here knight e2, I was not so sure if it were the best move for white. I thought maybe queen c2 would be more natural and try to play f3. But it's a different story. I probably would play something like queen e7, because white is not threatening to take on e4 anyway. So yeah, because of f6 in the end. So I think this is kind of playable for black. So in the game, he played knight e2, and then after a few moves, I was very happy with my position because I got to push his pieces back and trade the bishops. And okay, this should be a right equal, nothing special here. Bishop f5. Here, actually, can I show you a very interesting line?
Yeah.
So here, I thought g4 was the critical move. And then I have knight takes c3, bc, bishop e3, queen d3. And if not for knight g3, I would have been worse here. Knight g3 is very important.
Oh.
Fg, queen g3, king h1, and rook takes e3. And this is very important because now I have a draw, yes. Otherwise, if you don't take on e3 first, then there's knight h2. If you take h3, then knight h2, and okay.
This is not so clear, no?
Yeah, it's not so clear because, yeah, it's better to take on e3 first, and black is not worse there for sure. So, like, oh, sorry, take on g3, and then take on e3.
Yeah, take on g3, yeah. And then take on e3.
Yeah.
All right.
So, okay, he played bishop e4. It's okay. Knight d2, yeah. Still right equal. This stage was probably a little boring because we were just moving the pieces around. Not much was happening. Here, I think rook ed1 was probably not the best move. I think knight c5 may be a little bit better for white. Because if knight c5 dc, I don't have queen c5. There is knight e4. And rook e4, queen e4, and I lose the exchange. So I have to play like queen e5 instead of queen c5.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, queen e5 and then rook d1, let's say, and
Which one?
ed1.
ED1,
Yeah,
huh?
and probably white is a little bit better, but it's not so bad for black. Why we put the queen on d4? Yeah, but whenever you go b4, then I put the bishop on c4.
Yeah.
So it's still around equal, I guess. So in the game, he played rook d1 and now knight g5. Now I have a very concrete threat of rook takes e3. So let's say if he goes like knight c5, that would be very bad because of rook takes e3. Fe, knight h3, queen g3, and this looks extremely dangerous for white. Probably mate is coming. Rook takes e3, rook c3, and so on. So he had to play queen a3, and then we traded the queens.
Are you considering to keep the queens on the board?
Yeah, I consider queen b8, trying to keep knight h3, but I think I don't have more than a draw here. Let's say knight c5, rook e3.
I thought same idea. Maybe it's going to working somehow.
No, but why doesn't take on e3?
Oh,
why
white
takes
is
on
not
a6
taking.
because that's a tempo. Yes, and now I guess white can take e3 and that's probably a draw. Yeah, gh, queen g3.
Yeah, that's probably a bit different.
Yeah.
All right.
And then also after knight h3, there's king f1, so you have to consider that too. Queen g3, I guess, or queen h2, probably both are okay. And yeah, and then you have perpetual again. So, but here I wanted to play a little bit because I thought the pawn structure was not the best for white. So I transferred my knight to d6. And okay, it was still equal, nothing special. I think he played very well at this stage. He created some pressure. Yeah, we were just repeating some move. Now, I actually missed that idea knight e4, but actually it was not so bad for me. I think other than knight e4, white can also play slowly, like f3, king f2, king, g4, and maybe a little bit more pleasant for white. But it's still a long game. So at knight e4, I had to take, knight, rook c4. Yeah, take. And now I think he forgot about b takes c4. So he should have taken on b5, cb, and yeah, probably rook b4, rook b6, and then rook c1, or g4 first. Yeah.
G4, yeah.
Probably g4, and then rook c1, rook c5. And it is, yeah, it can be quite unpleasant for black here.
Yeah.
And
Looks
mainly
very nice.
because the e4 pawn is very weak. So
you actually you think you made a mistake about here, yeah? So this knight e4 gave white suddenly some chances to push.
probably, yeah. Probably I shouldn't have played king f7, but I missed the idea knight e4 completely. Yeah. So this is something for white. I think if he had played ab and yeah. But after g4, now black is the one who is pushing because after bc, rook b7, now suddenly I have a pass pawn and a4 is weak. And the critical line here, I think probably he underestimated, is after king d5, king f1, rook a5 is very strong. Because if I go c5, then there's rook b5, and white would be fine there. But rook a5, and the key line is the endgame after c5. Rook b5, he is losing for white. Because take, and cd, ed, f5.
Yeah, this week.
And this pawn endgame is losing.
And f4, f3, yeah.
Yes, f4, f3, c3, e3, and white is losing. So after c5, we had to go rook b8, correct move. Here, actually, I wasn't sure. I took some time to think about c3. But I think after rook d8, king c4, dc5. No, rook d8 first.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, rook d8 first, king c4, and then dc5. And I think this is draw. Rook c5, king d1. And white is okay. So I had to play cd, check, king c5. Yeah, I think this is my best chance. ed, king b4. And here, yeah, it was a bit unclear. I thought d5 is a possibility, king e3. What happened in the game was also a move.
So how you would have continued after d5? We're trying to work it out. We were not sure. You have chances here? Maybe you do.
I was thinking rook takes a4.
d6.
King c5.
King c5. Try
c7, king
catch
d6.
it.
Yeah, but probably a draw.
And now,
c3.
yeah, now c3, rook c8.
Yes. No, I have rook a3 here.
Here,
King e4, rook
take?
h3, rook c8. Yeah, probably a draw.
Yeah. Yes, quite.
Yeah, white is in time, yeah. So this is the way to make a draw for white. But he played king e3 first, and now after f5, it got tricky again, because now I think what he wanted is after d5, he probably expected king c5, but then king c5, d6, rook takes a4, d7, king d6, let's say gf, and rook f8. And that should be a draw, king d7, rook f5. And yeah, so instead of king c5, I found c3. And now I think maybe initially he wanted d6, but he forgot about rook c5. No, c2 doesn't work. C2,
this
king
time
d2. Yeah, so rook c5 is very important. d7, c2, rook b8, king a3, d8, c1, queen d2, rook c3, and then king e2, rook c2. Yeah, or you can also play f4 instead of rook c3. So yeah, so this line doesn't work for white. So after c3, it was already very tricky. And if rook b8, I have king c4. I think this is also winning. Rook c8 now, rook c5 actually wins for black.
The same idea for
same idea. Well, here actually you win the d5 pawn too. So after c3, king d4, yes. c2. Yeah, now I found this idea very nice. I think rook a4 and then sack the rook. Rook c2 doesn't work, king b3. And what happened in the game, I think, was the only way for black to win. If you play some slow move, then white has counterplay. So I had to sack the rook for the pawn. Very important, rook a6, and then take on d6. And I'm just in time. Like, white is one tempo shot to defend the draw.
Here we saw you stopping for a moment. Were you like checking out f3?
Yeah,
well?
I think f3 also wins, but I wanted to mainly make sure that it's winning after fe, because there's something to calculate after rook b8. Because rook b8, I have to put my king on c1. And then, let's say if the white king is not on the e file, let's say it's on g5 or g4, then it may be a draw, because then the rook can keep checking. But here, when you let's say when you keep checking, I put the king on c1, and then you don't have rook e8 to attack the pawn. So I thought that was a very important detail there. Which is what happened in the game, So once I get the king to c1, I play e2, and I have many ways to win. I probably can also go king e1, king f1 here, and king e1, rook c8, king f1, and that also wins. Yeah.
All right. Very impressive victory so far. Any expectations from the coming rounds?
I'll just try to play my best chess. On the opponents here are very strong and cannot underestimate them. I feel well, so I hope that I will continue my good form.
You were not there yesterday for the players' excursion. What was the reasoning? I mean, maybe you decided to take the day off?
Yeah, I decided to sleep a little bit more than usual, so I skipped the excursion. But probably after the tournament, I'll try to enjoy the city more.
All right. Of course, it was a very beautiful trip with most of the participants. So once again, thank you, Liem, for coming us here. We are going to be back, dear viewers, in a short moment. Let's maybe go to the bird's eye view, or even maybe let's go to the full screen of the game of